system. Just a second.
Oh, that's fine. Don't worry. That's also an AI tool that we use
Yeah.
for keeping track of the meeting. Plus, the once you give me control, then I'll have to start the recording again.
No, I have given you control.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, how's the training going and how's the preparation going, everyone? Hi, good morning, Tisha. Good morning, Ritu. Sure, Deepak. Thanks so very much. That's fine. Plus, we'll record this later on and also share it with everyone as well. Okay, we will give everybody 1 more minute for those who can join in, and after that, we're gonna start. We'll just give it another minute. Yeah, so we've got Deepak, we've got Amit, um, and hoping that we can get Vivek also to join us. If not, then we'll record this session for them. Okay. Um, Video recording. Okay. Ayush, is it still recording at your end? Because it's showing me that the session is recording right now.
Yeah, it's recording. It seems to be recording in three different places, but all good. We've got
Okay,
fail
great.
safe on fail safe.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so very good morning, everyone, and welcome to the orientation of the Elbrus Expedition 2025. Very excited to have you all on the call. Let me just give you a structure of how we plan the orientation call. So, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna take you through the entire expedition plan from beginning to end, day by day. We'll go over the climbing equipment, we'll go over the logistics, and hopefully that will help answer a lot of questions that you may have. And then we'll open it up for Q&A sessions. If we do not complete in the 40 minutes stipulated by Zoom, just use the same link and log on back to the call, and we can continue from that perspective. We'll try being as elaborate as possible in terms of covering all aspects. But in case we don't, and if there are questions later on, the good thing is that we have a WhatsApp group that we can put up those questions and we'll clear those on. And if you feel that one more such call is great, not just about orientation, but just to check in with preparation, then that's something we can do between now and the expedition starts. Today is the 31st of March, sorry, 31st of May, and we are looking at being in Russia by the 18th, 19th, 20th of July. So we have a lot of time, and we have Amit's constant updates to keep us motivated and incentivized. So will be great. And the idea is also this to create a bit of a team going and climbing Mount Elbrus rather than individuals who are climbing on the mountain. And that's one of the reasons why I feel it's important to do pre-expedition touch base so that when you do meet in Pyatigorsk the first day, then we're not strangers getting to meet each other for the first time. We actually uh, a team that is going to go climb Mount Elbrus together. And that's pretty much what our endeavor is. So, on that note, it's my pleasure to kick off and start off the Mount Elbrus orientation call. So once again, welcome to Adventure Pulse. And for those of you who've climbed with us before, it's really great to have you back with the team on another exciting mountain adventure. And for those of you who are joining us for the very first time, thank you so very much. I mean, it's great that We are growing slowly and steadily, and we're very excited to have you as part of the extended Adventure Pulse family. Just to give you a little bit of a background, we started our company in 2010. So it's been about 15 years of running expeditions, specializing in trekking and mountaineering all across the world. And rather than looking at smaller treks, we wanted to focus on the opportunity of going to different destinations and also including people who've never thought that they could trek before and try ensuring that we can focus on the safety and quality and allow you to go climb to bigger mountains. It's been great because we've had the pleasure of trekking with different people from different walks of life. And if you look at the composition of this existing team as well, you have a huge variety of climbers as young as 14 years old to as senior as 60 years old like me. No, I'm just joking. But the good thing is this, that each and every one of you are here on this expedition, not because of any peer pressure, but because you want to. And that's the endeavor and idea that over the next couple of weeks, we are going to try preparing you mentally, physically, and emotionally for the Elbrus climb as much as possible so that when we hit the mountain, then we know exactly what we're going to be doing. Um, Mount Elbrus is the highest mountain of Europe, which is kind of funny because you are in this place where, hey, but I have to go to Russia to climb the highest mountain of Europe. So, yes, of course, politically it falls in Russia, but geographically it's part of the Caucasus Mountain Range. And the Caucasus Mountain Range comes in Eastern Europe. In fact, interestingly, though Mount Elbrus is an extension of this mountain range. It doesn't belong to it. It's a standalone dormant volcano and has very different features from the mountains that are going to be surrounding it. So the good thing is this, that rather than fly into Moscow, all of you have been able to secure flights to Mirlan Vodi, which is a small little airport but an international airport, and therefore gives you better access and connection to this mountain region of Trescol and Mount Elbrus. Located at a height of 5,642 meters. I know some of you have been to higher elevations, but this mountain is not easy, right? I mean, and that's the idea of having these calls and this touch point is to try making sure that you are aware of all the physical challenges that you're going to be getting into before we end up going and climbing this expedition. And that's the idea. We're going to take you through this entire process slowly and steadily. So, quick synopsis is that you end up reaching Mineral Vodi, if you can see where the little plane is. And from there, we're going to be driving to Pyatigorsk. Pyatigorsk is a small little town next to the international airport. It's also a great place to be able to rent equipment and also the logistics for this entire operation. We've tied up with Climbing Brothers. You guys have already received the visa invitation letter. So they are helping us with the permits and logistics for it. So it gives us a good opportunity to just recoup over there, get our equipment together, and then move on to the mountain. We will be then driving for about 3 to 4 hours to reach Trescol. Trescol is slightly towards the northwest of Pyatigorsk and is the mountain region very close to the Georgia border. And this is where we're going to be doing our acclimatization hikes. So if you look at it, we're going to be hiking up to Cheget, gaining elevation. From there, we're going to be heading up to the old observatory. Now, these are very important days because it gives you a very good acclimatization and training perspective before we end up going and climbing on the mountain. Good thing is that we're following the principles of climb high and sleep low. Also, you're not roughing it out in a camp or a tent. And I know we look forward to that. But especially when we're doing big mountain climbing, the idea is that your focus is also to see whether you can give yourself a good opportunity to acclimatize but also rest and recover for the next day as well. And so by staying in Trescol and staying in a comfortable little hotel with warm blankets and beds and indoor plumbing. I'm sure nobody would object to that. Now, unlike most other mountain climbing expeditions, once we've had a chance to acclimatize, we actually take this cable car and go from Trescol up to the barrel huts. And because the elevation gain is so high, 3,815 meters, it's important that the acclimatization treks that we do before that helps us in being able to feel okay when we reach the barrel huts. It's interesting because when you climb up and trek up, that's also a possibility, but then the accommodation available in the barrel huts are not so great. Now, unlike most other climbing expeditions, whether it is Island Peak, Diyotiba, Kangyatse, or even Kilimanjaro, where you're literally moving from one campsite to another. Over here, the barrel huts is going to be our base camp. So we are going to have access to kitchen, hot water, food, and of course our beds and toilets. And that's going to be our base of operation. And every day we're then going to be going higher up the mountain and acclimatizing until finally on the summit night, we wake up in the early hours of the morning and then move from 3,850 meters all the way to 5,642 meters. Now, if you look at this height jump to the summit, it is quite substantial. I mean, it is it is more than 1,800 meters or almost 1,800 meters, which is much more than any other mountain climbing expedition that's there. And therefore, in order to prepare for that particular night, good physical fitness, uh, making sure that you have the right gear. These things become crucial and important. And that's why we're going to be talking about this towards the later stage also. But between now and the 20th of June, sorry, 20th of July, you do need to take the physical preparation very seriously as far as Mount Elbrus is concerned. I say this often enough to people who talk to me before any big mountain climb. If you're a little apprehensive, if you're a little scared, then that's good. Okay, use that energy to be able to wake up early in the morning and say, hey, listen, it's not about being fit or lean. It's also about the fact that if I don't wake up this morning and train and get into shape, then I'm not going to be able to climb to the summit of the mountain, right? I mean, that's within your control. And I know this is like reverse psychology, but it's okay. It's fine. And I think it makes a huge difference in your preparation, especially for big mountain climbing. We got a small little 3D video over here, which will give you a good perspective of the terrain. So we drive from MOD and go to Trescol. This is where we're going to be staying. Trescol is very close to the mountains. It's beautiful, it's very pretty. But also you have to remember in these mountain areas do expect rainfall. So you do need to be prepared with your gear as far as rain and snow is concerned. We end up taking the cable car all the way up to the barrel huts. They're going to be changing a couple of cable cars. And from the barrel huts to the summit, it looks very close. So literally you'll be standing at the barrel huts and you'll be looking up at the summit and saying, this is not a big deal. But when you look at the elevation that you gain right from the village up through the cable car into the barrel huts, then it gives you a sense of the fact that, okay, you've gained quite a decent amount of elevation. We're going to be spending some time going up and down and going up to the rocks, the push stove rocks, and going back down. And then, of course, in the night, we start for the summit. Now we can literally, in fact, I'll just play this part of the video again. So we'll be trekking from the barrel huts all the way up to the summit. But just in case the weather is bad or you're not feeling strong, we can actually take a snowcat all the way up to 4,800 meters and therefore reduce the amount of exposure time that you have on the mountain and then move, of course, to the summit. So the good thing about Mount Elbrus is that you also have this option of snowcats, snowmobiles to go up and down. And more importantly, in case of an emergency, then it gives you an opportunity to get off the mountain really fast, which a lot of climbing expeditions don't have the facility. Of course, in Nepal, you have helicopters, But let's say in the Indian Himalayas, if you're trekking or climbing, you don't have access to ground support or air support in case of a medical emergency. So let's take you through the entire plan. Day one, for all practical references, day one is the 20th of July. Okay. And for some of you who are approaching on the 18th and the 19th, we've already communicated. We will make sure that we pick you up from the airport and bring you to Pyatigorsk and organize a hotel accommodation, and we'll all be together as well. Plus, it's a strange country. There's challenge with respect to the language. So it's great that we are together and we're one team, and we'll talk more about the strategy of climbing and what to prepare, of course. But for all practical purposes, day one is the 20th of July. So let's say you arrive at M. Vori. We transfer you to Pyatigorsk. It's 20 kilometers away. We'll do a team briefing. More importantly, we'll do a quick gear selection, and we will do all the prep work for the gear before that. So Ishika had already asked about, shoe sizes, for example. We've already taken a note of that. Some of you want more equipment, some of you want less equipment. So we will individually reach out to all of you and try facilitating that process so there's no confusion on the 20th of July. And once you have your equipment, just remember that this is your rented equipment. So you have to be responsible for your climbing equipment, from the way it fits you to your comfort level to managing it to practicing it, and then, of course, to using it on the final summit day. So you have to be responsible for the equipment that you are taking. I'm being a little bit more straightforward over here because the idea is that I'm treating you guys as climbers, and therefore making sure that you know the background of how serious the climb is, right? Of course, I'm going to be there to help you with all the fitting and practice, so please don't worry too much about that. We end up reaching Trescol, and we're going to be booking a hotel over there. And the idea is that we end up spending time together. Once we get into Trescol, breakfast and dinner is included. We've also included packed lunch because we're going to be doing a lot of camping and hiking. Sorry, not camping, but hiking during the acclimatization days. But it's basic packed lunch. So do come mentally prepared that it's good to have some snacks also along the way. And I'll talk about that on day two. Day two's plan is that we end up doing this acclimatization hike to Mount Cheget. It's 3,380 meters, but we will try targeting reaching 3,000 meters just above the tree line. It's a good acclimatization hike. It's beautiful, it's pretty, and the best part is that you get some fantastic views of Mount Elbrus because we're climbing Mount Chegat, which is just opposite it. And so we are hoping that the weather is good and the visibility is good. And so we should be able to get some really nice views of the mountain. And also then I'll be able to show you the climbing route because you can see where the cable cars end and of course where the barrel huts are. And from there you can distinctly see the southern face of Mount Elbrus. This acclimatization hike is not optional, it is mandatory. And you have to remember that on Elbrus, they're very strict about climbers being able to be fit enough to complete the acclimatization hikes, because if you can't do the acclimatization hikes, then they will discourage you from going on to Mount Elbrus because the last thing they want is to make you fall sick. More importantly, we don't want to put you in a situation where your health or safety is being compromised. The next day is also an acclimatization hike. This is not just about elevation gain, but this is also about, I would say, distance as well, so that you'd end up possibly covering a lot more kilometers on this particular hike. It's good because we try getting a comfort level of the team's pace and try making sure that the team is going to be staying together and setting a pace that will help them cover that distance on the summit night. If you remember, I was telling you, you go from 3,800 meters all the way to 5,600 meters. So that's a big distance and big height gain, and therefore it's important to get into a good pace and a good rhythm that can ensure that you endure over that entire night of climbing. On day 4, this is when we move up using the cable cars and go up to the barrel huts. The barrel huts is more of a nickname. They're not really barrels. They are more like ship cargo containers, which on the inside have wooden paneling. This is the arrangements in the barrel huts are dormitory style. And so that way we can keep a tab on each other. There's a separate barrel hut for kitchen and of course a separate for the washroom facilities as well. This is going to be the base of operations, so you don't have to pack up every day and shift to the next campsite. This is where we're going to be staying. And so your equipment is going to be part and parcel kept over here. So you don't have to worry too much about, okay, do I need to pack up every day or every night? At the barrel huts, also remember that there's no water source. So as a team, we will be organizing water for food and for hot water and drinking. But we'll also encourage you to pick up a 5 liter canister of water at the mountain village to keep with you for personal toiletries, brushing, drinking, washing, that kind of thing. And so each one of you, in addition to your climbing equipment and personal clothes, should also be able to have like one 5 liter canister of water. That is something that we will anyway talk about when we are briefing every evening before we head up to the barrel huts. Once we get to the barrel huts, the idea is that we're going to be making the most of it. So day 4 itself, we will actually end up climbing a little higher just for acclimatization purposes. So from 3,800 meters, we'll go to 4,100 meters. And then we will practice some basic climbing skills. So things like how to walk with your crampons, how to do a self arrest in case you fall, how to be self sufficient and use your ice axe to prevent you from sliding down the mountain. Don't be intimidated by this. We will do it in a safe area. The idea is just to be able to give you an experience of what it's like to actually climb a mountain. These are some basic mountaineering skills which are used on every single mountain. And so, if you've done a basic mountaineering course or an advanced mountaineering course, whether in India or in Europe, then this is part of that training as well. So, it's good that we practice it because these are basic skills that you should have with you, especially on the mountain. And that's the idea to expose you to those techniques of self arrest, walking with crampons, walking as a team that are roped up together and stuff like that. This is a picture of how grand the cable car system looks like. It's quite beautiful. In fact, from the mountain village all the way to the barrel huts, there are three transitions of cable cars. So we're going to be working together as a team to shift our luggage from one cable car to another. And it'll be a good test of how we together end up working and showing some teamwork. Day 5 is the acclimatization hike to the Pushto rocks. So you will be walking wearing full gear and trekking up, or well, climbing up. When I say trekking up, usually you think of trekking shoes, but specifically you'll be wearing your climbing boots, your crampons. You'll have two trekking poles, and this is important. Please make sure that you do have two trekking poles, not just for the hikes, but also for the climb as well because it helps stabilize your body, especially on the steeper slopes. So we're going to be going up to 4,800 meters, spending some time there acclimatizing, having a packed lunch, and then returning down to the barrel huts. Now, day 6 is basically a rest day, and we're going to be doing our equipment checks, trying on your equipment, making sure you're comfortable with it, uh, eating, sleeping, but more importantly, drinking lots of water because you need to hydrate really, really well. Invariably, what happens is on the climbing night, you don't drink so much of water. So, literally, how a camel prepares to go into a desert, you are going to be doing exactly the same thing, hydrating, drinking a lot of water, and making sure that you've completely rested and recovered before the summit night. Usually on a summit talk, this is the picture that everybody wants to see and shares. Yay, we're reaching on the summit. But this is the reward. This is not the effort that goes into it. The effort that goes into it is experiencing the cold, um, making sure that you have a headlight that's working, facing the winds, facing the snow, facing being uncomfortable. But you have to know that that's all part of the process, and you have to fall in love with the process of climbing, because only once you do that can you withstand all that mental, physical discomfort, and of course, the feeling of reaching the summit, the highest point in the continent of Europe. No words can come close to being able to describe that. So, from that perspective, I think that's what you have to do, look forward to. And also, we will build in some amount of flexibility into the itinerary, because Elbrus is notorious for shifting and changing weather patterns. So it is even possible that day 7 we end up spending one more day resting and acclimatizing at the barrel huts. And that's why day 8 is a reserved day as a contingency in case the weather doesn't work out. We have built in that contingency of being able to spend an extra night at the barrel huts. So it's not like as if you have only one shot to push for the summit. Also, I will request you to give me a little flexibility and leniency in making decisions, because our aim, of course, is to try making sure that you reach the summit. But also, more importantly, our aim is to make sure that you are safe and you come back home safely to your families. So, I know some of you have indicated that you don't want to take the snow caterpillars, for example, but just in case we feel that the weather is not going to give us an opportunity to climb all the way to the summit, and therefore it may be a safer option taking the rat track or the snow caterpillars up to 4,800 meters, because our exposure to the cold and wind will be less, and therefore increasing our chances of hitting the summit. Then that's something that I'm going to strongly recommend along with the climbing guides that we have. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what the plan is. Day 9, which is the 28th of July, is that we have breakfast and then we drive to Pyatigorsk, return the equipment, and then spend a couple of hours chilling in the town. And then later in the night, we end up heading to the airport for our departure. And that's pretty much what the plan is. Of course, individual people have different flight options, and we'll answer those directly without cluttering up either this conversation or the group as well. These are some pictures that you have. It's beautiful, it's picturesque. These are photos of a clear day, but you also have to remember that Elbrus is notorious for changing weather patterns, and so we can't really show you pictures of what it looks like when it's snowing. It's too cold to even put your hands out. But when the sun comes out, it is fantastic. It's beautiful. This gives you a better perspective of what the area looks like around the barrel huts. Unlike most other climbing expeditions where you're completely lost in the mountain, connectivity is great. So at the barrel huts, you have 4G. I have Airtel roaming. And so I was able to not just do calls, but even do video calls as well with my family back home. The key about Mount Elbrus is the cold. So you have to remember that it's all about layering, not different clothes and different jackets so that you look great in different pictures on different days, but just layering. So focus on the layering part of it, starting with thermals, t-shirts, a fleece jacket, a down jacket, and a waterproof jacket. This is compulsory. This combination, there will be a point in time when you're wearing all these clothes. Of course, making sure your extremities are also well protected. So fleece glove over which you'll wear a waterproof glove, cotton and woolen socks, a neck buff. Balaclava is something that covers your entire face, and that is also very good to have. Of course, woolen caps and beanies. Accessories, sleeping bags, water bottle, head torch, mandatory. A trekking bag, two trekking poles, not one. Duffel bag, whatever personal medications that you may have. We will be carrying a full-fledged medical kit. Of course, knee guards and personal toiletries are important to have. In addition to that, we can talk about it on the group as well, but a lot of the food organized in Russia is very like not as fancy as, let's say, Indian food is concerned as far as flavors. So I'm going to be carrying a couple of packets of pre-cooked, ready-to-eat meals, and we can discuss that also at length. Who's bringing what? If you don't want to bring some which you enjoy, achars, pickles, the idea is that we want to try making sure that we enjoy our meals together as well, which will supplement whatever food we're getting in Russia. We've also taken a note of your dietary restrictions, and we will be factoring those in as well. Okay. Climbing gear is mandatory. These are the climbing gear that you're going to be using on Elbrus. So, unlike a Kilimanjaro and Everest base camp, those are trekking expeditions. This is a climbing expedition. So, mountaineering boots, crampons, gaiters, head torch, climbing helmet, a mountaineering harness, snow goggles. It's not sunglasses, but snow goggles are important. And of course, an ice axe. Um you can wear sunglasses, but make sure that they're completely fitting against your eyes. And this is some of the other equipment that you are going to be using. So, locking carabiners, dynamic sling, and of course, pee bottle is very useful in case you'd like to have that. So, yeah, in a nutshell, that's pretty much the um, entire gambit of what we have. And I think we have about 5 minutes on the clock. But as I said, in case we log off, just use the same link and log back on. Now, I finished my monologue. So we'll open the entire forum to questions and let's have a more interactive discussion. So, yeah, Anaya's hand is already up. Yes,
What's a
Anaya.
pee bottle?
What's a pee bottle? A pee bottle is an optional piece of equipment that you have, especially when you're on big mountaineering expeditions and you're in a tent and it's very cold or very windy outside. Then you have this bottle which you can pee into, and you don't have to go outside to the washroom, and then you can just pitch it out. You don't really need it on this expedition because, as I told you, we're going to be staying in barrel huts. You're not going to be staying in a tent. So for this particular expedition, you don't really need it. But the day you're climbing Everest, which I know is going to happen eventually, that's when you will have to use a pee bottle.
Sir, I have few questions to ask.
Yes, ma'am, please.
What we had written?
Are we to climb 5 liters? Yeah.
Sir, about this 5 liters bottle, what you said. So, are they supposed to? I mean, they this people have to carry, or you will have some porter who can carry all this stuff, or how it's going to be like?
Yes, ma'am. So again, because Mount Elbrus is not a trekking expedition, as I mentioned, most of the travel is going to be either in cars, own a cable car. There are no porters on this expedition. In fact, on this
Hmm.
particular expedition, besides you guys, I'm going to be leading it, and we will have three climbing guides, Russian climbing guides. Now,
Hmm.
climbing guides in Europe and Russia and South America and North America, they're very different from, let's say, a Kilimanjaro or a Nepal or
Hmm.
even India. So their
Hmm.
job is to guide you. So they will make sure that you're safe. They will make sure that you're using the equipment properly, but they're not going to help you pick up your equipment or anything. So we as a team are going to be picking up our own equipment. So Anaya will be managing her bag, her water bottle, her gear, and of course, we among the team will help. So in the cars, there's no problem. On the cable car, there's no problem. Once we reach the top of the cable cars, also, we'll organize a tractor to take all the equipment to the barrel hut. But to
Hmm.
specifically answer your question, each person will be responsible for their own gear. And of course, within the team, we will be able to help each other out as well. Right.
So, sir, the
So,
main sorry, sir, to interrupt. So, the
please.
main luggage which they'll be carrying from India to Russia that will be
Yes.
kept in the barrel huts.
Yes, that's
The
right.
right, and
That will not
after
be
that,
kept in the barrel huts. That Anaya will be keeping in the barrel hut.
yeah. So, in her whichever
Correct.
whatever room is assigned to her, whichever hut is assigned to her,
Yes.
she'll be keeping her stuff over there, right, sir?
Yes, that's
So,
right.
only till the time they have to climb up, they have to carry this 5 liter of bottle plus whatever gears she is carrying with herself. That will go
That's
up
right.
along with her.
That's right. Even the five
And
liters of water will be kept inside the
hmm.
barrel hut only. That is
Oh,
only
okay.
for washing, things like
Oh, right, right,
brushing
right.
your teeth, having a sip of water in the night. That 5 liters will
Okay.
pretty much last the entire
Correct,
period that we're
correct.
there. In addition to that, we will also be carrying extra water
Hmm.
for cooking, drinking,
Yeah.
heating, etc., etc. Just to give you a perspective, an average person ends up consuming about 10 liters of water per day in the city.
Hmm.
This is, toilets, having a bath,
Hmm.
drinking water, and all that. In the
Hmm.
mountains, we reduce this calculation to about, let's say, an average of about 2 to 3 liters per day. So
Hmm.
this container is just for those purposes. So yeah, don't worry about that. That's something that we will build into the plan. It's part of her experience of learning how to
Hmm.
climb on expeditions.
Correct, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
So, should I rent the climbing stick? I already have one. So, should I buy an identical one from Decathlon or should I just rent it?
I would say it's good to have two trekking poles, and it's good to get into the habit of using two trekking poles, especially on Mount Elbrus, because as you go higher up, then it gives you a good stabilizing ability on the mountain. And if you don't need it, then you don't have to use it.
So she can carry one more extra. So two will be, it will be a set of whatever. So she need not hire from there, right, sir?
I'll
No, she
purchase
doesn't
it
need to
from
hire from there. That's right.
And sir, how many extra dollars do we need to give them for whatever extra things over there?
That I will send you a message, right? I will break it down
Okay.
in terms of how much spending money you need. It
Hmm.
also depends because and I
Hmm.
have trekked together or hiked together in Leh Ladakh, and I also do
Hmm.
know that she ends up buying a lot of t-shirts. Okay, welcome back. Okay, any more questions? While people are logging on, we can take some more questions as well.
So when we're carrying the backpacks, how much should we aim to like train with? Should we aim to train with the 10 kg one, or if like 5 kg is fine, or like how much
No,
should
no,
we aim to train with?
I think, Ishika, that's a very good question. Right now, how much are you carrying?
Right now, I'm not carrying anything yet. I have to start carrying, so that's why I'm
Good.
asking that.
Excellent. So the idea is that if you're not carrying anything right now, start with at least 2 to 3 kgs. After about a week or 10 days, once you start getting comfortable with 3 kgs, increase the weight to 5 kgs. Just keep pushing yourself constantly out of your comfort zone, right? So if you're right now not training with any weight, that means it doesn't matter if I say 10 or 15 kgs because it's not going to be possible. But if you start with 2 to 3 kgs, then constantly keep upping the weight over a period of time. The idea is that you want to train your body for endurance, right? And so, how do you train for endurance? By pushing yourself constantly a little bit out of your comfort zone. So don't worry about what the target weight should be. The objective of this entire preparation is that you need to start. And once you start, then you keep gradually increasing the weight. Target that every 10 days, you're going to increase the weight by maybe a kg and see whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable. If it's comfortable, continue for a little while and then again increase the weight so that you're constantly pushing yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when we are carrying the backpack, will we be carrying like on a daily expedition? Will we be carrying the harness and the rope also inside of it and the crampon inside of it, or would that be like when we're staying in the barrel hut, then when we start walking itself, we'll put it on our foot and we'll walk, or we'll be carrying it for a while and then we'll walk?
No, so you are not going to be carrying the rope or harness with you on any day. Um, you on the
Okay.
training hikes that we are doing, you're only carrying your jacket, your water bottle, and some snacks. And even when we end up going from the barrel huts and going higher up, you'll be wearing your climbing equipment. So the idea is that whenever we are on, so unlike most other climbing expeditions over here, the moment we reach the barrel huts, you saw the pictures. We're literally at the snow. So from the barrel hut, you'll step out of the barrel hut wearing all your equipment. And so your backpack will constantly be having probably a water bottle, some extra clothes, and some snacks. What you are training
Oh,
for and preparing for is just the ability to be able to climb with extra weight on top of you. So small little things can make a huge difference. Like, and this is something that I've shared with Monica as well. Ankle weights. For example, if you have 500-gram ankle weights, so 1 kg ankle weights, which you put around your ankles and you walk upstairs, for example, that's great because that kind of simulates what it's like to have climbing boots and crampons on each one of your foot. Because then you're strengthening not just your core muscles, but you're strengthening specifically the big leg muscles also to prepare for the climb. Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah, Disha wanted to know that can she carry cup of noodles and all those things?
Yes, absolutely. Tisha, that's something that's very important. In fact, on the group, we're going to be talking about that. Please remember that food has two purposes,
Yeah,
right?
she's more inclined asking about the food, like what snack items or
Yeah. So
she's
food has two purposes. One, it has to be fuel, and two, it also has to be a certain level of comfort as well, right? And that's important for us. And because the good thing is that we're going to be going from Trescol to the barrel huts by cable car. Cup noodles are great. Maggi noodles are great. Theplas are good. Homemade laddus are fabulous. Um, Garlic achar, mango achar, nimbu achar, basically whatever you want to make your food more tasty. These are all things that are going to add flavor and supplement to the food. And it shouldn't reach a stage where you're like, "Ah, I don't feel like eating, or I'm bored of eating." Because it's also important to remember that that food is important to fuel your body higher up in the mountains. So if you have a favorite chocolate, like I know whenever Suraj goes in the mountain, he will never go without one bar of Cadbury fruit and nut, for example, right? Or some Kit Kat, because that's his favorite chocolate. You have to carry stuff that you really enjoy. And I think that's important. And I think the good thing about being Indian is that we love to discuss food. So that's something that we're going to definitely discuss as to who's bringing what. And that's the idea. The idea is that we're going to have fun, not just on the mountain, but also at the dinner table as well.
thank you.
My pleasure. Okay. What else? Any other questions?
So Samir,
Amit brought up a
Deepak here.
question a couple of days back about insurance. So in the past, a few people have picked up insurance, but one of the biggest requirements for insurance is adventure travel insurance, which kind of gives you helicopter evacuation. This is possible in Nepal. This is even possible on Kilimanjaro in Africa. For those of you who've done Kilimanjaro, you would have seen that there's a helicopter evacuation there. On Elbrus, there's no helicopter evacuation. But having said that, in case of an emergency, I am responsible for you. We are responsible for you. So we will try making sure that you are not in a position where you fall sick. And also, we will be keeping a backup plan. So small little things in the past is we've spoken to drivers of the rat track, the snow caterpillars, and told them that, listen, we have one or two people who may or may not be going higher up the mountains. So we will create a backup emergency rescue plan also, and we will discuss that in the mountain as well.
So Samir, we are taking from the village town to barrel huts by the cable car. So any weight restrictions on the duffel bag because 15 kg, 20, nothing like that, right? So
No, absolutely not, Deepak. In fact, Elbrus is the one mountain where there's no weight restrictions. I think the only restriction is how much can you carry.
how much you can carry?
So,
Yeah, that's all.
yeah. So, as I said, the more stuff you carry up to the barrel hut, the more stuff you have to only manage. So, honestly, when we reach the barrel huts, the three things that are important are your layering gear, your clothes, your climbing gear, and of course, your food and water. And these are the
Yeah.
three things that are there. So anything that is unnecessary or extra, as I said, different multiple layers of jackets. Once we reach the, excuse me, sorry, once we reach the barrel huts, you can't have a bath, you can't have a shower. So you don't need to worry about changing different sets of clothes. So the idea is that we carry stuff that is necessary, that is required, And anything that we don't need, we will leave it in the mountain hotel of Trescol for us to come back.
Okay,
So
okay.
it's
So
not
we have
like
an option
all
to
the
leave stuff there. Yeah.
Yes, we have the option to leave stuff there. So it's not like all the stuff that you're carrying from home into Russia, all that stuff has to come up with you to the top of the barrel hut. We'll keep a separate bag and we'll put all our stuff into that bag as well and leave it at the mountain village. You know, things like once you come back from the expedition, you want a fresh pair of clothes or city clothes to change into, a pair of sneakers that you don't want to be only wearing your trekking boots on. So from that perspective, don't worry. You don't need to carry everything up to the top of the battle hut.
Okay.
And the good thing is that when we reach the mountain village, we have enough time to go through, okay, what is necessary, what is not necessary, and screen or pre-prep for the expedition.
Okay. Sir, I wanted to ask that Ayush, sir, he had messaged me about, my doubt of what all documents to be carried, during the time of leaving India. So there were
Yeah.
three documents which he had mentioned, like which was one is the visa, which will be e-visa, which will be receiving the sponsor letter and our passport. So apart from that, do I need to send any birth certificate or anything extra, or just this three will suffice everything?
Yes, ma'am. As of right now, these three will suffice. And the good thing is, Anaya is traveling with me from Delhi. So I will also
Exactly.
have all these documents with me,
Hmm.
specifically in Anaya's case.
Hmm.
And between now and the expedition, we are currently starting the process of, we just got the visa invitation letter. We are getting the
Hmm.
permits also in place and all that. So if there's any other documentation required, then I will personally reach out to you in
Okay, sir.
Anaya's case and in all
And
your
sir,
cases also.
as per your information about the insurance, so that means that we don't need to take insurance. No, there is no need. I mean, what do you suggest? No need for
No, it is
insurance, right?
not. It is not a requirement to purchase adventure travel insurance.
Yeah.
A normal travel health insurance is a good practice to have, and that is something like a normal overseas travel insurance. That is
So
something
that is
that
what my insurance agent has guided me. The same thing
yes,
what you have said, that they don't give it for any adventure trip for
yes,
in per se insurance. It can be a
yes.
general insurance. If you want to take, you can carry it.
Yes, yes, that's right. So, to answer your question specifically,
Yes.
is an adventure travel insurance a must on this expedition? No, it's not a must.
Yeah.
If you're going into the mountains, as Amit said, it's good to have a helicopter evacuation option, but in Elbrus, it's not available. So
Hmm.
you don't necessarily have to pick it up. But is it a good idea to have an overseas travel insurance when you're traveling abroad? Yes. I mean, in case you need to be hospitalized or something, and that's what an overseas travel insurance will cover.
Correct, sir.
So what about charging ports? Like in Nepal, it was recommended to carry more extra batteries for the camera. So
Yeah.
I'm bringing one, but the battery life is only 2 hours. So what should I do? Should I carry extra batteries or a power bank, or should I just charge it
No, that's
in
a good
that?
question, Anaya. So, in the mountain village, we are staying in hotels, so there's no problem. And when we go up to the barrel huts, I'm trying to remember from July, I was using a power bank and I will check. I'll get back to you and check what what is the charging facility in the barrel hut. I think we did have a charging point, if I'm not mistaken. And also, what is the kind of adapter that you need to have with you for charging? Because people are from different places, Singapore, India, and so I'll ask Ayush to just share on the group what is the Russian charging adapter that is required. I normally use a travel adapter because I'm usually traveling to different parts of the world. So I've not really thought about that, but yeah, a multi-travel adapter is a good thing to have with you.
Okay, thank you.
Samir, I have few questions.
Yes, Amit.
Just now you said about the insurance, right? That ordinary travel insurance is sufficient. So let's say someone is started getting suffocated at high altitude, let's say at 4,800, and
Yeah,
he needs to hospitalize.
yeah.
Then in that case, normal travel insurance will cover it or not?
No, it will not cover it, but an adventure travel insurance will also give you the coverage of taking a helicopter evacuation from there. at 4,800 meters, in case you are not feeling well, then we will bring you down immediately, and we will try making sure that you get down from that height up to the village. And then if you have to be hospitalized, then an overseas travel insurance will be able to cover you.
Okay, so yeah, so what you're saying is that at 4,800, as there is no helicopter evacuation, we don't need to have the high altitude travel, means adventure sports travel insurance. We
Yeah,
just need the normal, which will be like hospitalization at the town downstairs in
that's
down
right.
base camp.
Yeah. See, I'll be honest, an adventure travel insurance, if you're purchasing it for $100 or $200, we are talking about Global Rescue and of course ASC 360, which is what we shared on the group. For that much money, you can just take a snowmobile and come down only in case of a medical emergency, right? So if I'm with you at 4,800 meters and I say, Arey Amit, you're not looking well, you need to get down, the cost of taking that snowcat down will be the same as purchasing an adventure travel insurance. An adventure travel insurance is advantageous if, in case you're right in the middle of the mountains, on the side of a mountain, whether it's Everest or Kilimanjaro, and you need a helicopter evacuation, and the cost of the helicopter evacuation is $6,000 or $7,000, then it's advantageous from a cost benefit analysis to say, okay, I've paid $200 for an insurance, and it's also giving me the peace of mind that in case of a medical emergency, I need to take a helicopter down.
No, but like
But
when you when
specifically
you
in
when you
Elbrus, it's not really
when
required.
you
However, if it gives you a peace of mind, then absolutely, please go ahead.
no, I think not that, like I'm just trying to understand, because like when
Yes.
you try to claim the insurance, right? Then in
Yeah.
that case, they will ask the, like, why did you get, how did you get there? And then other causes,
So
like why
so
this,
Correct.
like why this.
reimbursement becomes a challenge. Actually,
Yeah.
if you had gone on a high altitude, reimbursement becomes a challenge on a normal insurance. That's why I think Amit, you are asking, right?
Yes,
That
that's
Yeah,
right.
ACS
yeah.
or Nomad really helps. So
Yes,
you don't need to prove that why you were unwell and where you got unwell.
correct.
Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely. That's the biggest advantage of having specifically an adventure travel insurance, especially at high altitude.
Okay. My next question is like in the gearing list, right? You mentioned about knee guards. Is it compulsory to have it?
Amit, so sorry. I can just about hear you mention. What about visas?
No, not visas. In the
Knee
gear
guards.
list, you have mentioned about knee guards.
The
Knee
knee guard,
guards.
Sam.
Yeah.
Knee guards. No, no, it's not compulsory to have. Sorry.
No,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
because
No, no.
I haven't been to the snowy mountains, so I don't know like whether it's really must to
No,
have.
I mean, knee guards are something that is just good to have because invariably most people go to the mountains worried about high altitude sickness, but the probability of somebody saying, Arey, my knees are hurting, I have to descend so much, that is much higher than high altitude sickness. So we've just started saying, hey, if have knee issues or weak knees, then it's good to have a knee guard, especially because there's a lot of descent, from 5,642 meters all the way from that elevation, you're descending down all the way to 3,850 meters. So I carry one extra knee guard all the time, and we've just started including it in the list. It's good to have, it's not need to have.
Okay. My next question is to keep the luggage in the hotel, can we bring a small suitcase?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Then what are the temperatures and wind speed on each day? Like, do you have mentioned about day one, day two, right? So we can get like any estimates about the
Yes.
temperature and the wind speed.
Yes, I will send you, Ayush or one of us will send you on the group day wise, location wise, a range, right? Of what we can expect as far as temperatures are concerned. But also we'll keep updating it because the range is very large, especially on Elbrus. On a sunny day, it can be a beautiful 20 degrees Celsius, and that same day, the next day, if it's raining, can go down to like 2 or 3 degrees Celsius. So closer to the travel dates, we will have a better weather forecast of what to expect on a daily basis. But yes, that's something that we'll share with you.
Okay, so and another question, next question is, can we carry water bladder or it will get freeze?
No, so can and use a water bladder for all the hikes that we are doing. If we are hiking to Chegat, if we're going up to the observatory, and also when we're doing an acclimatization training on the mountain. But specifically for the summit night, you can't use a water bladder because it will freeze in, I think, in 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And the other thing is that you can't put hot water also into a water bladder because the plastic will get warped. So yeah, you can carry a water bladder, especially for the training hikes.
Okay.
But for
Uh,
summit night and Cusco Rock, when we climb, we need to have the thermos, right, with us.
Yes, absolutely. Strongly recommend a thermos. And the thermos will also be put into a woolen sock just to make sure
Yeah,
that it stays warm.
at least 1 liter plus, something like
At
that,
least
right?
1 liter plus. That's right. At least 1 liter plus.
The metal bottles,
The metal
is
bottles
it
will
okay? Yeah.
definitely, yeah, the metal bottles will definitely help, but you also have to remember that if it's not a thermos, then metal is also a good conductor, and so it will get cold very fast. So metal bottles are good to have, but you should have one thermos at least, especially on Elbrus.
So it's kind of a freezing temperature, then only you need thermos, right? So, and I
Yeah.
believe it will be a freezing temperature.
Yes, absolutely, without a doubt.
yeah, that's all from my side.
Okay, great. Good, excellent. Yes, Ritu.
Oh yeah. So you had mentioned that your Airtel was working absolutely fine. So this phone carriers should be fine.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I was using
Just like
Airtel postpaid roaming, international roaming, and I didn't have a problem.
you
It
didn't have.
worked very well throughout the entire expedition.
Okay, so we don't need to worry about a SIM card for Russia.
No, you don't need to worry about the SIM card. Yeah.
Our arrival departures are all quite late night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., all that flight, right?
Yes, Deepak.
So that's fine, or we need to wait at airport till daylight or something, or is it okay to?
No, not at all, Deepak. In fact, so my personal experience on international airport of MOD is that the passport control is not the smoothest process, right? And I'm sharing this with you because Russia is Russia. For when you enter at the passport control, they scrutinize your documents, they make you wait. And so that's where there's possibly a wait time that you may experience. But once you clear passport control, as soon as you exit the airport, we will have a driver waiting for you. And the great thing is that I think all of us have timed it well so that we are pretty much arriving in groups. And so, one, though you'll have other people form the team who are going to be with you, and we'll share who's traveling together. And two is at the moment you exit the airport, we will have a vehicle that will pick you up. We will take you to the hotel and we'll make sure that you have a room available. For those of you who are arriving on the 18th, I'm personally going to be with you. And those who are arriving on the 19th, when you arrive at the hotel, I will again be with you to receive you as well. The only thing is that the hotels, and this I mentioned before, and we've shared it on the group also, usually check-in, checkouts are from 2 p.m. to the next day, 12 p.m. So if you're arriving on the 18th in the morning, for example, or 19th in the morning, for example, then technically it's treated as the previous day. But we will make all those hotel accommodations so that you don't have to wait extra hours at the airport or outside in a lounge or anything. The moment you arrive at the hotel, we'll make sure that we have your room ready so that you can rest, recover. And that's the idea, that when we leave for Trescol, everybody is gotten over the jet lag, travel hangover, exhaustion of the travel, etc. Right? So that when we start, we guys are all fresh and ready to go climb.
Samir, if our trek finish 1 day early, like because the weather is nice and everything is good, then
Yes.
what is the arrangement like if we come down early?
So if the trek finishes of 1 day early, then we come down the mountain and we stay at Trescol 1 day early, and the next day we party. Yeah.
And for us, we have to party one more because our flights are 29th night, I think, right?
Yeah, so
Are we?
no,
Yeah.
29th morning is your flight, Deepak, I think.
29 morning is there. 28
That's
night
correct.
is the flight. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so all of us are flying pretty much 29th early morning. I think the only exception, if I'm not mistaken, is
Vivek.
I think Vivek is
Yeah.
flying 28th evening. So don't worry, you will have a lot of company to to keep you.
Okay.
Everyone's on the same flight actually on the way out. Everybody but Vivek is all. Everyone's on the same flight, so you all go at
Also,
the
most of you are through Dubai only.
correct. It's the exact same flight. At the couple only Sam and Anaya on a slightly different flight, but it's at the same time and on the same day.
Okay.
So you'll all be going to the airport together.
Okay, good. I think this was a good orientation call. I'm really excited to have you guys on board. We're going to be obviously sharing a lot more tips going forward as well, both in terms of physical preparation, any logistics that we need to coordinate. We'll do that individually and reach out. You have Ayush also on the call, so Ayush, say hi to everybody.
I've been a silent observer till now, but yeah, you feel free to message me on the group or individually,
Yeah.
if you have. But yeah, always happy to help.
So, you know how all the superheroes who are out on the field saving the world invariably have one guy in the base camp managing the tech and logistics. So, Ayush is going to be doing that for us. So, any problems, any issues, please feel free to reach out to Ayush. Any doubts that you may have, please reach out to both Ayush and me. You have 2 points of contact. The idea is that we want to try making sure that we prep you as much as possible before the climb. So when we reach the climb, all we have to do is go climb and have fun. Yeah. Weather is always a big factor in the mountains, whether it's Elbrus or Everest behind me as well. So that's something that unfortunately we can't do anything about. But the good thing is that July, August are two months in the year where the probability of the weather being the best is the highest, and so it's a good time to be able to climb, right? And more importantly, we're going to be doing this together. So small little things like should we take the snow cat or not? What is the kind of climbing gear we want and all that? All these things we will solve by and by.
Sir, food list you will be sharing later, or you'll be discussing with everyone how you're going to do for the food
Food
list. I
list we
mean,
will
of
do
course, we
by
know. I
then.
mean, sorry,
Yeah.
sir.
So food list is something that we will share with you as to what the kind of food preparations are. We've just taken everybody's details. If you guys remember, you've filled out the
Huh.
form, you've given us your food preferences as well. So we will just
Hmm.
factor all that in, and we have time. The good thing is that, as I said, between now and the time that we end up going to the mountain, we will make sure that we tick off all the lists. And of course, if there's something that we've forgotten, please feel free to remind us.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, folks. On that note, I am going to take a screenshot since we have most people on the call so that we'll be able to share this with you after the expedition, as this is where it all started, 31st of May 2025. So give us a big smile and also a big peace sign. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Okay. Got a screenshot of that. I'll share it on the group. And yeah, thank you so very much for spending the Saturday morning. And we'll share the recording also of this on the group. So if you'd like to go back to it, it's a point of reference for you.